Today is day 8 of the 12 days of Christmas, and we'll focus on fun, easy piecing, organization, essential tools, and something to keep you busy when you aren't quilting. Check out day 8. It's time to stock up on needles. Here are the staples that the staff at Lori's Country Cottage use for sewing. First up are embroidery needles. So these are used in your embroidery machine. They have a light ball, a wide eye, and then a groove up the shaft. That's to accommodate the thread and to reduce excess friction when you're embroidering. And this is an assorted size pack. Then we have Microtex needles. First in size 10. Now size 10 are fine needles. Microtex needles have very long, slim points. They're great for sewing on batiks, and 10s are really nice for other fine fabrics if you do your English paper piecing by machine and for machine applique. And then we have the Microtex 12s. These are my standard needles. I use these for all of my piecing, but they're especially good for, again, batiks and fabrics that are tightly woven. These are the ones I use the most. And then last we have the quilting needles. So quilting needles have a special taper, a slightly rounded point, and they're made to quilt through layers. This is an assorted size, so you can adjust your needle for your project. It's time for you to stock up on needles. Let me tell you about scrap tape from the Gypsy Quilter. Scrap tape is a lightweight, water-soluble foundation that you use for piecing, sashing, borders, and blocks. I did an extensive how-to on how to use scrap tape, and you can find that on our website. So scrap tape comes in 3 sizes. First, there's a 2.5-inch roll. That would work really good for sashing or strip quilts where you're using jelly rolls. Then there's a 5-inch scrap tape, which would also work nice for sashing, but it's excellent for borders. In my how-to, I showed you how to use the 13-inch scrap tape to make blocks for quilts. Each roll of 13-inch scrap tape makes 27 blocks, so that's a nice size quilt. Scrap tape is important because when you're working with scraps or pieces cut on the bias, it is a great foundation to stabilize all those pieces. It gives you something to sew on, which just gives it more structure. Another great thing about scrap tape is the fact that it's water soluble. So you're going to sew on the foundation, and the first time you wash your quilt, the foundation disappears. Here's an example. This is a block with the foundation still on the back. And here's one where I just immersed it in water and the foundation is gone. You can see my sample from my how-to on the wall behind me. I show you how to make those blocks, but you're not limited to that. I had great fun just pulling some Halloween fabric and slapping it on a 13-inch square. They use 13 inches because you can cut them down to the 12.5-inch unfinished size or even 12 inches if you like. Some important things to know about scrap tape is that you can't use steam if you're going to press with your scrap tape. Because it's water soluble, it will turn to gum and make a mess out of everything. So you're going to need a tool like the magic seam wand, and I'll show you how that works right away. Just to press as you go. You can finger press as you like. You can press from the front as you're doing your sew and flip method, but I just used my magic seam wand and the blocks came together really quickly. Scrap tape from the Gypsy Quilter is a great tool for helping you to make sashing, borders, and blocks. Here's the June Taylor Magic Seam Wand. If you're using scrap tape or June Taylor foundation that's quilt as you go, it's not suggested to use an iron, but we like to get our seams nice and flat. And that's where the magic seam wand comes in. The magic seam wand has one beveled side and then a flat side, and you can use them both for pressing your seams. So let's say you're working on a June tailored quilt as you go, or a regular quilt as you go. I've sewn my pieces together and now I want to flip it, but I want that seam to be nice and crisp. So I'm going to take my seam wand and simply help that seam lie flat. Now here's the neat thing about using a wood tool. I can take that beveled edge, hold it against my iron for 6 to 10 seconds. The wood will absorb that heat, and then I can give it another press. And it's like pressing with heat to help flatten the seam. So the magic seam wand is great for quilt as you go projects like scrap tape and June Tailor. But it's also great when you have a project that asks you to press seams open, but they don't want you to use an iron. So you can simply stitch your seam, open it up, take your June Tailor and give it a quick pull with the magic seam wand. Again, you can heat up that beveled edge or even the flat edge on your iron, and it just gives some heat to make a nice flat crisp seam. And a press from the other side really helps as well. And that's the June Tailor magic seam wand. Here are 3 great puzzles from Suns Out. The first puzzle is Holiday Quilts. It's 20 by 27 when it's finished. The artwork is by Tom Wood, and it shows quilts in a beautiful Christmas scene. The second puzzle, Quilted with Love, is a little bit larger. It finishes at 27 by 35, and the artwork is from Joseph Burgess. There are beautiful quilts hanging in a rustic cabin, and you can spy some antique sewing machines in the background. The third puzzle is the Sewing Room, artwork by Lori Shorey, and it finishes at 20 by 27. You'll find cats curled up on quilts, spying birds outside the window. All of the puzzles are 1,000 pieces. The pieces fit together nicely. Doing jigsaw puzzles is a great way to spend some time when you need a break from quilting. I can't wait to show you these. The jumbo number and alphabet clips from Seams Sew Me. These are an amazing tool. Let's talk first about the alphabet clips. So you get 26. They come in a great storage container, a sliding tin box. So you get all the letters of the alphabet in the box. And if you do block piecing from designers like Lori Holt, who like to label all of their pieces by the alphabet, these are going to be perfect for you. So I do Lori Holt piecing, and believe it or not, this is part of a water can. So all of my pieces are clipped with the corresponding letter, and it keeps everything completely organized. No more sticky notes that fall off or stabbing yourself with pins. This company has also come out, instead of alphabet letters, with numbers. So these are great. Again, they come in a great storage tin with numbers 1 through 20. And I feel like these are more appropriate for stacking your blocks when you're laying out a quilt. So for instance, if I laid out a quilt, I would use my clip, my jumbo clip for row 1 to clip all of my blocks together. You know how hard it is to get a pin into a stack of, this is 16 blocks, and the clip has no problems. So great for rows and columns. So you get all the numbers you need. Now you're probably thinking, what if I have a jumbo quilt project? How many layers can the clips actually hold? Well, let me show you. Here's part of a jelly roll. You can see it's probably about a 1/2 inch. No problem at all. But what if I double that up so that we have quite a thickness there? Again, the clip has no problem at all clipping, and that's because it's got hinges on those clips. So instead of actually bending this out of proportion, it's simply hinging it so that it fits, and that's not going anywhere. So it will clip stacks up to 1 inch. You can get things organized, and it comes with the great storage tins so you can keep your sewing room organized and all together. Here's a great book called Quilted Projects for All Seasons from Annie's Quilting. It contains small projects, quick holiday patterns, 11 different designs to stitch all year round. Many of the patterns include hints and tips to help you along the way. Let's take a look at some of the projects. First up is a Valentine table runner. It gives you the cutting instructions to change the size if you like. Next up is sunrise in spring. That would be great in almost any series of colors. Then we have In a Row, the tulip table runner. Next up is American Pride, but this would be an amazing wall hanging. I see it in taupes, browns, and blues, but that's what I like to sew with. Next up, Bloomin' Pumpkins. You could make a whole quilt out of this if you wanted to. And another seasonal project, Sasha May. So granny squares with cats. And again, you could make it all granny squares or all cats. Then there's Pumpkin Boo Pillow. And a Christmas themed quilt, Tree Farm. Now, if you did it all in green fabrics, it wouldn't need to be Christmas. Then there's Jolly Holiday. There's Santa in a table center, or you could make it into a tree skirt if you wanted. And finally, Tumbling Gingerbread Table Runners. This would be great as placemats as well. So this book is Quilted Projects for All Seasons from Annie's Quilting. Here's the newest rotary cutter from Olfa, the Blooming Garden 45mm rotary cutter. It is your classic straight-handled cutter, which is good for left and right-handed cutters. Why not add a little bit of pretty into your sewing room with the Blooming Garden 45mm rotary cutter? It's time to stock up on needles. Quilted Projects for All Seasons is filled with unique projects that will be easy to keep in order with the jumbo number and alphabet clips. Make the most of your scraps with scrap tape, or consider planning a unique and easy to make quilt using the scrap tape. Use it for blocks, borders, and sashing. And we have a how-to video on scrap tape if you'd like to watch it. And when you need a break from quilting, why not try one of the quilting themed jigsaw puzzles? Now, don't delay. Put everything in your cart and go through the checkout. Special pricing is only good until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Don't forget to watch for bloopers every day and download the free mystery clue. It's only free for 1 day. After that, they're $2.99 each.